when he's finally sworn in. We have been joined on the line by security analyst Richard Kumado. He is joining us for a conversation. Mr. Kumado, thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome, Grace.
Mr. Kumado, can you hear me? Thank you for joining us tonight.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Hello, Grace.
Mr. Kumado, can you hear me?
You. Yes, I can hear you.
Well, so my first question to you will be your thoughts on the general presentation of the Interior Minister during the vetting.
I think he did well. I think he touched on most of the issues. The particular one he touched on that was happening is the issue of promotion within the Ghana Police Service. If you remember, one of the cases against Dan Parry, the current IGP, is that there were some levels of favoritism and bias towards some officers who took him to court. They have not been promoted, and some others were promoted. We also know cases within the Ghana Police Service within the past 8 years where certain people were promoted 3 times within a shorter spaces, and they override their colleagues and some other seniors. And I think the mechanical issues we spoke about and appraisal of officers within the private sector, these are best practices we can adapt and look at it again. Other than that, people not being promoted, it serves as a demotivation, and it's also one of the reasons why there's always a rancor within officers within the Ghana Police Service.
The Interior Minister also made a strong case about his resolve to bring peace so that the issues when it comes to the Boko conflicts will be resolved. When you listen to the interventions he wants to put in place, do you think it is the right things we should be doing? How differently should he be looking at bringing peace to Boko?
He has no choice. The president appointing him makes sure that he made those public statements that he would task them specifically to prioritize public safety challenges at Boko. Now, Minister of Interior has been appointed and approved. There's an IGP on the ground. All the public safety challenges fall under the feet of the IGP and the Minister of Interior. The issues he spoke about were fine programs and projects he has enumerated. My view has always been that the issue at Boko is not predominantly about security. And the issues at Boko will need to be looked at when we review the methodologies and also have a look at the approach we have adopted over the years. To the extent that he wants to do something differently, let's hope and pray that this will yield the right result and peace and security will return back to Boko.
And he was also asked a question on how we can increase or restore public trust in the police service. And his answer was that he thinks that the mistrust between the police and the public is as a result of the issues of corruption or bribery that has gone for a while between the police and the public. How well do you think he should also be looking at this to restore the confidence the public has in the police?
I think it's also about performance. It's also about the professionalism of police officers, how they conduct and how they act in the field or in the discharge of their duties. We should also be looking at the nature of not just promotion, but the nature of recruitment into the Ghana Police Service in particular. Where politicians have hijacked their place, they will not get the right people working in there. So once you do not recruit the right people, you have difficulties with training, they have difficulties with exposure, and they are not in a position to benchmark some of the best practices across the group. You think they have worked for a number of years and you require or demand some level of credibility from them, you wouldn't get it. And to the extent that they deal directly with the general public, any lapses or any defaults in terms of behavior and output is what has led to lack of confidentiality and the trust. If the police want trust and they want confidentiality, I think they will need to raise levels of confidentiality, levels of professionalism, and change the modalities they adopt sometimes when it comes to public engagements with the general public.
I'll let you hold the line. Let's listen to what the minister said about recruitment. Then we'll have that recruitment conversation.
We'll have to review over the last maybe 30, 40 years or since we started this Fourth Republican Constitution. How have we done it? Has it served the purpose? If there are lapses, we'll look at it and review them in the best interest of the country. But to sit here and assure you that, we'll do it based on regional, then maybe we'll go and then people say, can we even look at tribal? Can we look at it? Can we look at all the other balances? It may be very difficult for me to give you a specific answer, but to tell you that definitely recruitment into the security services is a serious concern for the average Ghanaian, and it requires a review of the process. How do we do it? How do we do it so that it will meet the best standard?
So, Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak there talking to us about what he intends to do when it comes to recruitment. Mr. Kumado, how do you think we should be looking at the issue of recruitment so that some people don't feel sidelined, so that that issue about protocol lists and all of that is eradicated?
They know exactly what to do. Let's open up the process. I have always used myself as an example. When I was going into the BNI, we were over 4,000 that started the process. After 3 years of background checks, they pick only 4 of us. They need to open up the process, ensure that they benchmark some of the best recruitment practices. Deliberately, politicians flood the place with their political supporters. And you go into the police, you have protocol police officers, professional police officers, and political police officers. I think what they need to do is to ensure that they engage in a recruitment process that is devoid of political partisanship. And irrespective of whichever political party you belong to, once you set up the criteria and people meet it, give them the opportunity. But you can be sure that for political expediency, politicians have flooded the place, MPs have flooded the place. Any new idea and any better ways of benchmarking in terms of recruitment that Murtala Mubarak or the Interior Minister will bring on board, it will be a laudable one. But these are early days yet. Let's wait and see. One of the crooked things they need to change is when you open up a portal and ask people to pay money to buy the forms, and you know definitely that you have a cut-off number you are looking for, but you'll allow these boys to buy the form and for exorbitant prices, and you will not even call them, or some you call them to medical level and they never hear of you again. You are creating the promises where recruitment fraudsters will take advantage of the process and also dupe and some other people. And I think the state has been complicit in the recruitment fraud, particularly within the security agencies over the years. And anything he will do differently in that regard will be a laudable strategy to embrace.
All right, Mr. Kumado, thank you so much for talking to us. Richard Kumado is a security analyst talking to us on the Interior Minister's vetting his performance and as well as how Parliament has quickly approved him. If you just tuned in, you're on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. The latest from Parliament is that the House has unanimously approved Northern Regional Minister Designate Ali Adolf, Oti Region Minister Designate John Japon, Volta Region Minister Designate James Gunu, Eastern Region Minister Designate Rita Awate, and Interior Minister Designate Muntaka Mubarak. We have information that they are likely to be sworn in later today by President Mahama, and when he's able to do that, we will also bring you all of that. Let's still stay in Parliament, because the House was forced to suspend sitting for more than 30 minutes following concerns raised by the NPP minority side of the House over the inability of the Electoral Commission to continue the recollation of election results at the Ablekuma North constituency. The NPP said without the recollation taking place, they will not allow any government business to continue in the House. The Ablekuma North constituency remains the only constituency without a representation in Parliament. The EC was forced to suspend the recollation of the results on January 8th after a High Court order for the recollation to continue. However, on January 17, the EC's Greater Accra Regional Office came under attack, compelling the EC to stop the exercise. Later, the EC in a statement blamed the attack on the NDC's constituency organizer for leading the supporters to mass up at the EC offices. Here's what transpired on the floor of the House just a few hours ago.
To him for honoring that duty. However, Mr. Speaker, you may recall that his predecessor, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, assured the House last week that the issue of violence related to the Ablekuma North parliamentary elections will be taken up. This side of the House had raised a serious protest on the way and manner the Electoral Commission was being pounded by the NDC Greater Accra Regional Party. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the NDC Regional Party, led by its regional organizer, led some party members to attack the EC Coalition Center. And the EC issued a public statement to condemn the act and pleaded with the police to intervene to protect them. Mr. Speaker, this was the basis of the protest we raised. Mr. Speaker, when business statements are read, it is the responsibility of any member of this House to raise a matter of national interest for the leader of government business to ferry same to government for address. It was on that basis that Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen assured the House, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen assured the House that he will take steps to address the matter. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the EC has not received the necessary protection from the Elections Security Task Force to enable it conclude the collation and final declaration of Ablekuma North parliamentary elections. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commission complained of threat to the lives of its staff. The Electoral Commission complained of destruction of its properties. I would want my respected colleague who has just come to take steps in ensuring that Dr. Dampari, the IGP, who is the head of the Election Security Task Force, is able to provide sufficient security to enable the EC undertake its constitutional mandate. Mr. Speaker, we raise this as a serious democratic matter because it is a blot on our otherwise peaceful democracy. This is supposed to be a 276-member chamber. We are 275. The people of Ablekuma need a representation, and government must take steps in ensuring that the Electoral Commission declares. Thank you. Take your hands off Ablekuma now.
And so there you have it there happening on the floor of Parliament earlier, some hours ago, the minority saying no Ablekuma, no government business. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere joins us on the phone for a conversation. Doc, thank you for joining us tonight. The first question on the minds of a lot of people is time and place for this call by the minority. Do you think it was the right platform for them to have made that call for representation for the Ablekuma North constituency?
Hello.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't hear your question. Can you repeat?
Yes, Doctor, I was saying that the question on the minds of a lot of people are the time and place at which the minority leader made this request. Do you think it was the right time and place for him to have brought up the issue on the fact that the Ablekuma North constituency is still lacking a member of parliament?
Yes, I get your point. The point is that politics is about strategy. And the point is that he was able to ambush his opponent without they knowing that that is something that he had intended to do.
Yes.
And that is very strategic. Yes, the timing was wrong. It was inappropriate. But you see, he still found a way of importing that particular issue into the whole debate. That is very strange. But he took the NBC majority unawares. And that, for me, is really, really strategic on his part. Despite the fact that, or irrespective of its inappropriateness, and the timing was obviously wrong, probably they felt that that was the only conducive time they will be able to introduce a subject matter such as that. That notwithstanding, the presupposition is that the minority believes they have won that particular seat. And so the undue delay on the part of either the EC or the manipulation and the interference on the part of the majority is that which is delaying the whole process of declaration or recollation or whatever term that he's trying to use for that particular description. And so nobody expected that he was going to take them on in that particular manner that he did. And for them to even come with placards, it meant that they had planned that in advance. The premeditated action for that matter.
Yes, Doc. And Doc, the last time we even heard about, we had an update on the recollation exercise on the Ablekuma North constituency was January 17. It's been some days now. Do you think that the steam cooling there in the last few days will do the process any good?
Well, I think that I think those some quite sizable number of the populace are opposed to that particular process, and that in itself is a security threat. That being said, I don't know if the LI, 126 wouldn't allow for a re-election altogether to be conducted at that place. As it stands now, people are of the view that there has been some manipulation along the line, and they are not ready to accept that result. And if that is the case, then it means that there is recipe for chaos. Some of these things, make some of us believe that the EC did not itself acquit itself properly in this particular elections. And that said, that is why I'm of the view that all these things should be amalgamated. That should lead to a conduct of forensic audit and some kind of investigation in the conduct of the EC over the period. Things of that nature are just, these are immediate causes, but there have been remote causes along the line. And I am not happy the way and manner coalition delayed in the whole of this 2024 elections. That is the cause of every brouhaha that you are seeing. That is the cause. And I think that in that aspect, in that respect, the EC has not acquitted itself properly. And that's the more reason why there should be some kind of investigation, a commission of inquiry, a committee of inquiry ought to be set up by the president for the powers that be to investigate the way and manner the 2020 and 2024 elections were conducted.
Doc, that brings in the conversation on the need for a re-election in the constituency, just like he said, if the LI allows for that. Would you stick your neck out for that?
I think as it stands now, there's a stalemate. And whichever way you look at it, it could create some problem. If the powers that be, if the stakeholders believe the MPP feels that they won, the NDC feels that they've also won, and that there is a manipulation, there is a high-handedness, there is some kind of a long arm, from the part of the EC. So if that is the case, the belief is not there. The belief is not there. So it means that it is a security threat in itself to Ablekuma and its environs. Therefore, the proper way to look at this particular issue is by calling for a re-election altogether. And those who believe themselves that they won the elections, right, could as well believe that they are going to win. Perhaps there could be some kind of incumbency advantage, but we've seen it before. In what's it called? Asin South. Asin North. Yes. Yeah. In Asin North, for example, the NPP was in power, but they lost miserably. So if indeed the people of Ablekuma Central believe that it is the woman, is it Obin or the other
Irabina Obin.
That is really, yes.
Contesting a
the people will not change, nothing will really change that. It doesn't matter whether the MPP is in the position of the NDC in government. If the people are well convinced that this is how we voted, that is how it will take. That is the kind of pattern, it will take.
Even in a second run.
Yes.
Yes.
If it is rerun. I think that if it is the NDC that won, they will win it. If it's the MPP that won, they will win it. But you see, people are afraid that what are our chances if we go for a re-election? Anything can happen. There's a psychology that, well, the NDC finds itself in government, so they look more attractive than the MPP. So the citizenry in that area can decide that, look, you are in opposition, you have nothing to offer us. So you go. We'll turn our vote and give to the majority. The other aspect to that psychological would be the MPP is the fact that you look at Greater Accra, they're talking about 34 seats. You have lost miserably. They are holding about 31 or so for now. And so if you are not careful, if the percentile also leaves you, then, you are gone. And that in itself will not augur well, for their stability and their workings as well.
All right. Doc, thank you for talking to us. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst talking to us about the Ablekuma North constituency, the fact that it has no MP as of now, and that call by the minority leader in Parliament later today. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. The sports team is standing by to bring us the latest in the world of sports. Don't go away.
Frequency 92.7 3FM.
It's now time for sports here on 3FM's Hot Edition. My name is Mutala Yakubu. Now let's get straight into the mix. And the Minister Designate for Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, has acknowledged the significant challenge within his sector and has called on all Ghanaians, particularly the media, to play a pivotal role in ensuring an efficient and effective ministry.
Funding must also start from somewhere to help us generate the line. But the good thing about sports is that sports is the only place that you don't pay for space. All of you speaking to me in the mornings and in the afternoons, you have platforms dedicated to discussing sports. And so all we need to do is to see how we can galvanize and unite these folks and direct it in a way that can help us regenerate and bring back the love that we are talking about. So you will be needed. You are a critical component of this journey. We can do without you. So information sharing will be one of the things that we'll be working on so that a void will not be created. Once you create a void, people tend to feel that void. And what they feel with the void may not be palatable. So it is important that we work on all these things. But unity, as I said, is very important. We need it.
All right. Two things. That is Sports Minister Designate there, Kofi Adams, calling for all hands on deck. Now, let's move on to one story that has divided opinion. That is where Ghanaian forward Jerry Efri has finalized the transfer from lower tier side Thoughts FC to Saudi Arabian club Al Qadsiya FC, signing the contract that extends until 2028. Now, as part of the agreement, the 20-year-old striker will spend the rest of the season on loan at Spanish third-tier side CD Lugo to further his development. Sports journalist Michael Akumia, who has closely followed the player's rise, shared his thoughts on the transfer.
Jerry Afriye's move from Tot FC to Al Qadisiyah in Saudi Arabia and on loan to CD Lugo in the Spanish third tier will have its own impact on the player and Ghana football in general. Personally, I think for him, the financial gains and the sporting gains are really massive, and it's actually going to change his life in the long run. And if he is my brother and you look at the financial gains and a lot of things that will come out of this deal, I will definitely be happy to move him on to these particular clubs, especially in Asia or Saudi Arabia, to get whatever that he wants. But in reality, moving from Al Qadisiyah on loan to CD Logo is actually going to help him improve. I think for here in Ghana, we don't develop these kids so well, and at the end of the day, whenever they travel, they even struggle to adapt. Some are exceptionally talented and they adapt easily. Others will have to go through a certain level of phases to understand where they are and improve on their game. But at the age of 20, I think going into the La Liga 2 would have been better than the third tier of the Spanish football. And I think playing for such teams in La Liga 2 could have enhanced his ability to get enough experience before he moves back to Al Qadisiyah and operate or play in the Saudi Arabia League and compete against the likes of Al Ittihad.
So that is Michael Akomia there sharing his thoughts on Jerry Afriye, who has now joined Saudi Arabia side Al Qadisiyah. Now today is a big day for sportsmen and women in Ghana because the 49th Sports Writers Association, that is SWAG Award, is set to take place tonight at the Accra International Conference Center. Now this prestigious event is one of the longest running award schemes in Ghana, and it celebrates outstanding sportsmen and women for their achievement over the past year. 3 sports journalists, Enoch Fifi Forsen, highlighted the significance of the awards and their impact on Ghanaian sports.
The SWAG Awards remains relevant. It is still the go-to awards for sports in this country, and all credit to the leadership, Kobna Yeboah, who has come in and has changed things. One thing that impresses me about the SWAG Awards is the consistent show by sitting presidents. We've seen in the past how Nana Akufo-Addo was heavily involved. Today we are going to see President John Mahama present at the award. We've seen Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, former vice president, support a category that's the Sports Journalist of the Year award. And it has improved interest it has led to a massive interest by journalists. And today, I'm looking forward to the awards. I know it's going to be the best of best awards to come.
So that is Enoch Fifi Forsen there. He is with 3 Sports. Now let's wrap up with the Australian Open, where Italian tennis player, that is Yannick Sinner, has emphasized the importance of staying focused even after losing the first set in a semi-final clash against the USA's Ben Shelton. Sinner bounced back impressively to secure a 7-6, 7-2, 6-2, 6-3 victory, ending the spot in the final. Now the 23-year-old will face Alexander Zverev on Sunday, and he credits his composure and focus as the key to this win.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very tough first set, but very crucial one, and I felt like he was serving not at his best today. The percentage was not there where I guess he wanted to, and I think we both actually returned better than we served. And first sets are always very important. It gives you a little bit of confidence. There was a lot of tension for both of us, and I'm very happy how I handled the situation today. Obviously the support has been amazing, so thank you so much as always for coming. And happy to be back in the finals here.
So that is Yannick Sinner there. He will be playing on Sunday against Alexander Zverev, and will be hoping to win this Australian Open there. That's all by way of sports here on 3FM Sports Edition. My name is Mutala Yakubu. Message Ma is here to bring you more.
92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station. 92.7 3FM presents Fit Start Walk. Kick off your year the right way. Join us for a morning of exercise, networking and relaxation. Date Saturday, 1st February 2025. Time 5:30 a.m. Starting and ending point Aviation Social Centre. Call to register 053 2300 927. Fit Start Walk. Don't miss out. Come walk with us.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m. 3FM.
Is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your Inspirational Gospel Mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week on every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3FM 92.7.
Welcome back. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Grace Amoah Agyemang. Just gone by was sports with Mutala Ibrahim. Let us do more stories now. And President Mahama has promised to complete major infrastructure in the Volta region, including the Eastern Corridor roads and abandoned E-blocks. President Mahama, who is in the region as part of his thank you tour, said that tourism will thrive with the appointment of Jifa Gumashu as Tourism and Creative Art Minister, as well as the Roads Minister governs Kwame Agbeja.
Development were enjoined by the National Constitution to ensure the balanced development of all parts of our nation, Ghana, and we shall do just that. We've already begun by assessing key infrastructure needs in the region. The whole Denu Road, which is a lifeline for economic activity, will be a number one priority. We understand how the poor conditions of roads has hindered trade, tourism, and mobility, and we are committed to addressing this challenge. Similarly, the whole airport, which is a vital asset for this region, will be revitalized. We will explore how to resume commercial aviation into the airport using smaller aircraft and developing the routes. Yesterday, I met with the CEO of the Ghana Airports Company, and I gave her the go-ahead to allocate the land for the establishment of the pilot training school. Education and sports infrastructure would also receive attention. The Regional Youth Resource Center, which has been left to deteriorate, will be developed in order that our young people can develop their talents. In addition, we'll fulfill our promise to build modern prototype markets in the region, such as the one we have planned for Aflao, to empower local businesses and international trade with our eastern neighbor, Togo. During my campaign, 3 pressing concerns were brought to my attention: the sea defense project along the coast of the Volta region, the Keita Port project, and compensation for those affected by the spillage from the Akosombo and corn dams. The Sea Defense Project is not just an infrastructural project. It is a lifeline for our coastal communities that continue to suffer from sea erosion and flooding. We will ensure that this project is expedited in order to protect lives, livelihoods, and property. I've asked the newly appointed Minister of Transport to review the feasibility study on the Keita Port project and brief Cabinet as early as possible on the status of this project. We will also ensure that victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage are adequately compensated and that measures are taken to prevent such disasters in the future.
The president has also been touting his big push for the economy.
In a beacon of support for the National Democratic Congress, my party, and indeed myself, and has been a stronghold for Ghana's democratic progress since 1992. Your immense contribution to the success of our party and my election as President of the Republic of Ghana is a testament to the strength of the bond that exists between us. We cannot talk about Ghana's progress without acknowledging the vital role that the Volta region has played in shaping the course of our history. However, we also acknowledge your challenges. Years of neglect and alienation from the development of our country due to your political choices. But I stand here today to tell you that this narrative will change. My visit this afternoon signals my commitment to ensuring that the Volta region receives its fair share of national development. Our objective to reset Ghana begins here in the Volta region.
President John Mahama, the Abobomefia of the Asogli State, Togbe, after the 14th, also responded to the presidency.
By the reason why people take national assets without any fear of retribution. And it's heartwarming that you are doing this, particularly because we've always said that one bad part of the Constitution is the enormous powers given to the president. That you are willing to look at this is very heartwarming. It demonstrates your absolute commitment to the interests of our country and to the progress and the happiness of our people. I also have enjoyed so much watching you try to restore Ghana's image through your travels, trying to re-establish lost friendships, trying to re-establish Ghana's leadership in African affairs. It's my prayer that the good Lord gives you the strength so you can continue to do all the good things that you plan to do. Just like every other region, we in Volta are anxiously looking forward to the benefits of your leadership, giving us better living standards. Again, we know that there is need all across the country, but it's worth noting a couple of things that we Voltarians are very anxious to see happen. The Eastern Corridor Road that you started has virtually been abandoned, and we are anxious to see it completed. And I'm sure you are aware that Ho and other parts of the region are suffering from water shortages. Those who require immediate attention. Your Excellency, let me thank you very sincerely for not forgetting the whole airport. And I want to thank you for instructing the Ghana Airport Company Limited to release the land for those of us who want to build a pilot training school in Ho. Thank you very much for making a point to ensure that this outstanding issue is dealt with very quickly. When I reflect, it hurts that we paid money for land in June 2023 in order to operationalize the whole airport, and we are yet to be allocated the land. Thank you very much for your intervention, Your Excellency. I also want to thank you for giving us someone who promises to be a very good regional minister, who even before you gave this mandate has demonstrated a willingness to work with the people and for the interest of the people. We know he will not be like the one we just had. I recall that in 2020, when Volta felt under siege from soldiers that have been sent from Accra, in a run-up to the elections of 2020, we came together, a good number of us from the Volta House of Chiefs, visited the then President Nana Aranko Akufo-Addo to appeal for mercy on our people. Sadly, our minister was there, together with one of our own sons, Mr. Amewu. They denigrated us and embarrassed we, the chiefs. We left extremely sad. For instance, it was said that Togbe was going around the registration centers, interfering with registration, which was not true. It was said that we, the chiefs, were all NDC and would typically import voters from Togo, hold them for weeks.
Togbe Afede is the Abomefia of the Asogli state, welcoming President Mahama to the Volta region. The president has begun a nationwide thank you tour in the Volta region. Starting from the Volta region, he was there today and is expected to visit the other regions of the country to say thank you to Ghanaians for voting for him, as well as the NDC party in the just ended 2024 election. Talking about the NDC though, some supporters of the party in the Futu constituency are protesting the seeming neglects of the constituency in the appointment being made by President Mahama. They argue that the party's parliamentary candidate, James Kofi Annan, deserves an appointment. Let's listen to the constituent and then connect with our correspondent in that area.
Obi a yin finfen we futu ha mo even national fo anka sampo wonya ni ide aye afen marking wanya bete inti papa ye begina na do 2020 o gina na do afen marking leave 5 million no na ko final leave 2 million opposition party wa bre no ko court na ol kwa ha na ol ba ha na mpenfu na wo hye no bode Kofi kodu obeye ye yedi dim from 2020 yedi about 2024 no constituency in Ghana here obekede one na watching nkofo de won konka registration go tia okabanya na APC obi alo otwe obi don ka registration bia parliamentary candidate otia na kaw nti sanyame na dom na papa wa bra mo sha fa marking malampa mugu national ho no mo sha do anyemo le ho na mo sha do da ye Kofi na we futu ha na yame adom na send party na ba power positions anya na yedi na chi no so Mubachana no so wenye bi na ye no so ya bra no ya so ya kono da wenye bi ama na ya so yedi no mukudu mu che positions ni won santi ya asam boko his excellency ya asam ya ka ton de yan papa Dr. James Kofi Annan someone pa baby no man fa na ansha na samu mo le batowa efutu yan kan mu ya because se Kofi Annan we nya hia yenyim de NDC party no ibi nyi wi ni ba madam asibebri
Some constituents there in Ifutu. Let us connect with our reporter there, Akwesi Ado. Akwesi, if you can hear me, what is the background to this protest?
Okay, so the background of this disturbance is that members of the Ifutu constituency, according to them, have really toiled hard, including their parliamentary candidates for both the 2020 and 2024 elections, Dr. James Kofi Annan, and that they were expecting that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama would assign to the parliamentary candidate a governmental role. For them, they believe that when the parliamentary candidate receives any nomination or appointment, he would be able to properly cater for the Ifutu NDC. And that they believe that since 2020, when the man led the NDC, he has been able to make the NDC very attractive in the Ifutu constituency. And then also he has sacrificed a lot, both in cash and in kind. And they believe that those sacrifices the man has made cannot be undermined. And so they are calling on the president to appoint him. So this morning they invaded the constituency office, vandalized some items, and then set some ablaze, and then they registered their displeasure. So that is it. But let me mention that the man, Dr. James Kofi, currently is out of Winneba. He is not in Winneba at the moment. And I did just concluded an interview with him. And what he's telling me is that he is not aware of the behavior that was put up by some members of the party. And that he is calling on every member of the National Democratic Congress in the Ifutu constituency to exercise calm and also exercise restraint, because he himself has not submitted his CV to the president for the consideration of any appointment, and so he would want the constituents to desist from any such activity going forward.
Of course, you talked to us about the level of damage to the constituency office. What did they destroy with you? We just heard you say they set some also ablaze.
Okay, so the damage is that they pulled some plastic furniture from the office, and then they gathered it at the forecourt of the constituency office and then set it ablaze. And then also, the office was very organized, but they disorganized the items that were set up in the office. For example, they moved some of the items from their original locations or situations within the office. And so that is the level of damage. But it is apart from this setting up this plastic furniture ablaze, they did not touch the actual building.
Okay, and you say that you've taken a response from Dr. James Kofi Annan on this behavior from the constituents?
Yes, indeed. I did concluded a telephone interview with him just a few minutes ago before this call came through from the studio. And he is not in Winneba. So right from the morning when I came here in Winneba to follow this particular development, I tried getting in touch with him. And the response I had was that he was not around. So I managed to speak with him on the phone just a few minutes ago. And what he's telling me is that he is not in support of whatever was done this morning, and that he is condemning it and calling on party supporters to desist or refrain from engaging in any such acts, because he himself has not submitted his CV to the president, and that he is not, considering that the president would appoint him to any position.
But what if did you get an indication that he will accept an appointment if the president does?
For that, he did not disclose to me as to whether he is ready to serve in any capacity. But let me mention that even before the president began nominating appointees, I had tete-a-tete with him. And what he told me was that for him, he came through to ensure that the NDC was able to win the parliamentary seat in the Futu, that he could not actualize that particular dream, because to him, he believes that there are certain factors that need to be laid to ensure the NDC's victory in subsequent elections, and that he was not even considering that he would be appointed to any portfolio in the country.
All right, Akwesi, thank you for bringing us that succinct report. Akwesi Ado, our reporter, bringing us up to speed on those issues. Before we go, though, President John Dramani Mahama has terminated COP Mameya Atiwa Adodanko's appointment as Executive Director of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. Sources at the presidency said COP Adodanko has been instructed to hand over her duty and return to the Ghana Police Headquarters for reassignment. The directive comes amidst efforts by the government to restructure EOCO, an agency tasked with investigating and prosecuting economic crimes and corruption. The former Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service was appointed to the EOCO position in January 2022. And finally, government's much anticipated National Educational Forum is scheduled to take place in the next 3 weeks, according to Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. The forum, among others, will discuss a possible review of the free senior high school and government's plan to remove all senior high schools from the national grid. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has been talking to us on the sidelines of the Global Day of Education, and will bring you that report subsequently. That will be all by way of Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It came to you live from our studios here at Adisawe, Kanda, Accra. Stories that came through as headlines this evening. Parliament approves Interior Minister Mutaka Mubarak and 4 others after going through vetting. Also, Interior Minister designates assured of solving age-long conflict in Boko through stakeholder engagement. Ribochu accepts office vetting, and President Mahama begins his nationwide turnkey tour in the Volta region, assuring them of no more neglect. My name is Grace Amoah Agyemang. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good evening.